Eric was prepared. They'd performed 2 dry runs to ensure they could get the timing right, 3 sets of instructions, one for Yvette, one for Abi to take to school, and his own miniature wallet-sized set had been laminated and distributed accordingly. Tupperware had been bought, labelled, and filled with nutritionally balanced snacks. No one could possibly be more prepared for what today was about to entail. He had everything covered. Unfortunately, he was also knackered. Since Mabel's arrival a year and a half earlier, living in a state of unfeasible tiredness had become the norm for Eric. Learning to be a new dad again after such a long hiatus had been a steep curve. There was also the added factor that this time there was no Susie to rely on. He was the one in charge. Throw into this the fact that for several months his house had once more been a building site, as work on Yvette's granny annex overran by first one week, then another, and it was no wonder that his morning routine included 3 shots of espresso before he even contemplated taking Lulu out for her morning run or making a start on the sandwiches for the day. However, with work on Yvette's flat finally complete, Mabel's adoption finalized, and a successful, albeit emotional, family Christmas navigated, for the first time in a long time, Eric was starting to feel ready to take on a new challenge. Then last night happened. It was like everyone in the world had known how much he needed a solid night's sleep and decided to do everything in their power to stop him achieving that. First was Mabel. She'd been sleeping through the night for well over 6 months, but last night she had Eric up and down on 3 separate occasions. The first time she was after a little more milk, but the remaining 2 occasions were clearly just to stop him getting some sleep. "It's going to be fine," he assured her. "You're going to love nursery, and Granny will pick you up after lunch." She tugged at his now lengthy beard and said a few unconnected words. Abi was also restless. 2 terms, she said as Eric went to turn out the lights. "That's all I've got left. I don't understand where the time has gone. I want to stay in year 6. I'm not ready to move up to big school yet." "You don't have to be ready." Eric tucked the corners of her duvet underneath her. "You still have another 2 terms. You said it yourself. Then you'll be ready to leave." "But what if I'm not?" "Then we have 8 months before we need to talk about it." While Abi pouted, Lulu grunted as she leapt onto the bed and curled up by Abi's feet. The red setter was officially past puppy stage, yet still insisted on tucking up each night between Abi and her soft toys. For a while, Eric had tried to protest the habit, particularly considering what he had seen Lulu eat when they were out on their walks, but Lulu had been one of the few things that had brought Abi any joy after Susie passed away. As much as he hated to admit it, he owed that dog a lot. Even with the girls in bed, Eric failed to get any quiet. "Yoo-hoo, only me." Yvette let herself in through the front door. "How are you doing? All planned for tomorrow?" Eric took 2 glasses from the cabinet, then changed his mind and put one back. He poured a long glass of wine for his mother-in-law. "I don't need to be planned," he reminded her. "It's an inset day, so I won't have any classes. I won't even find out what classes I've got until tomorrow." "Well, it doesn't hurt to be prepared. Have you got a pencil sorted?" "I'm sure they have pens and pencils I can use at the school." "But what if they don't? You know what they've been saying about the budget cuts recently. Teachers are having to buy everything themselves, even paper. You don't want to turn up and be the only teacher who doesn't have a pencil case." Eric rolled his eyes. "Fine, I shall make sure I have a pencil tomorrow." "And what about a packed lunch?" In truth, Eric was grateful for his mother-in-law's interventions and by this point couldn't imagine life without them. Yvette's unofficial moving into their house had happened before Susie's death due to the rather acrimonious separation from her husband. At the time, Eric had resented her presence in his home more than a little. However, after Susie's death, when life had sent him tumbling down what could have been a very long and tumultuous path, Yvette had been there, day in, day out. Even now, he shuddered to think of how things could have ended if she hadn't been there to pull him out of his self-inflicted abyss.